If you were to study all businesses with more than 100 million in ARR, what will you find out? Is the probability for a B2C SaaS business higher or lower to get to 100 million in revenues compared to a B2B SaaS business? Do funds and holding companies buying up businesses to get to 100 million in revenues know something we don't know? In this episode, we will provide answers to these questions and discuss the 6 ways how to build a 100 million ARR business. I will be going through all the research out there and pinpoint the variables which improve your odds to get to that number. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. I'm Alexej, an investor and an entrepreneur. And before starting my own holding company with several businesses we launched and one we acquired, I spent close to 10 years in finance investing in tech businesses. In the last 4 years, I helped more than 60 companies scale, with one of our clients reaching 100 million in ARR last year. That experience taught me a lot about optimizing your odds for success. And in this episode, I'm going to provide you with the 6 ways which will get you to the 100 million ARR business, and I will discuss the probabilities behind each of these paths. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode once a week with insights from companies we work with, venture-backed, private equity, and bootstrapped SaaS businesses all around the world. If you're excited to dive into the first strategy, go ahead and press that like button for the YouTube algorithm. There are 3 key areas we will focus on. The first one is how much your clients are paying you to use your product. The second one is how fast you're growing. And the third one is an approach around acquisitions. In the grand safari of SaaS, your customers are as diverse as the animal kingdom itself. Each animal, and therefore each different segment, has a unique go-to-market strategy and growth strategy. Christopher Jans, a partner at Point9 Capital, came up with 5 different animal types to classify your SaaS customer based on their average revenue per account, ARPA or ARPA. Each of the 5 animal segments requires a different strategy to build a 100 million business. Once we cover the 5 ways and discuss the statistics behind the success of each, I will talk about the 6th way to build a 100 million ARR business. So let's start with the first one, the mice. The mice, around a 100 ARPA customer, so that's a customer paying you $100 per year in revenue. These are your small yet plentiful customers. Capturing them is about volume and efficiency. Think of a calendar booking business such as Calendly or a time tracking tool such as HubStuff. It's about casting a wide net. I interviewed the founder of Everbee on our SaaS Minds podcast, link below. And Everbee is a tool for merchants on Etsy to figure out what products they could launch and what products sell well. The founder grew the business in 2 years from 0 to 5 million ARR. He has 50,000 individuals using his analytics product, each paying $20 per month. This is a typical mice business. With 50,000 merchants already using it, how many are left for the business to become a 100 million ARR business? Stay with me to find out if they can actually get there. Now, the strategy is a viral growth strategy, and embedding features that naturally encourage users to share your product, you can capture a large volume of smaller customers. In the case of Everbee, running Facebook ads to a freemium version of the product combined with YouTube as a growth channel gave the virality they needed to scale that low ARPA product so well. Now, there are 4 other conventional ways to build a 100 million business. So on number 4 is focusing on niche markets by hunting rabbits. Rabbits are your customers paying you $1,000 RPA. A step up in the food chain, rabbits represent your small to medium businesses. They require different tactics to catch but promise a higher return. This segment is about finding the balance between personalized attention and scalable growth strategies. Example is targeting small to medium-sized businesses with productivity tools or a vertical market tool for cleaning businesses such as ZenMaid. Zeroing in on a niche market or rabbits allows a SaaS company to tailor its offering precisely, ensuring a deep product market fit. This focus facilitates a strong initial user base and sets a solid foundation for scaling. We had the founder of ZenMaid on our SaaS Minds podcast too, where he discussed his go-to-market strategy and his pricing strategy to hunt rabbits. The link is in the description below. The third way is hunting deer. Now, a deer is the equivalent of $10,000 ARPA. Now, we're getting into the more substantial businesses, possibly mid-market companies that offer a significant bump in your revenue per account. Deer requires a strategic approach, often involves tailored sales efforts and customized solutions. A SaaS example is ThinkChain, which is an AI platform designed for private equity funds to improve the way they gather information and present the results to the investment committee. We interviewed Tony Lewis on his client acquisition strategy, and the link is below, of course. One of the underlying reasons for the companies to go after deer is that in order to get the very large numbers, you have to get your churn rate close to zero, or better yet, achieve negative churn, which is usually not possible if you're selling only to SMBs. The other reason is that outbound sales doesn't work if your RPA isn't large enough, which sort of limits your addressable market to companies that are more or less proactively looking for a solution like yours. Now, partnerships is a great way to hunt deer, and if you want to learn more about how to build up sales via partnerships, check out my webinar on growth via partnerships in the description below. Now, build a sales-driven approach for larger deals is where we get to the elephants. Large enterprises that can significantly impact your ARR with just a few deals. Landing an elephant is about deploying your best salespeople, patience, and often a bespoke solution that integrates deeply into your operations. Now, as an example, known for its CRM solutions tailored to large enterprises, Salesforce's extensive platform and higher contract values position it squarely among the elephants. Transitioning to a sales-driven model is essential when aiming for larger accounts known as elephants. This shift often involves developing a dedicated sales team capable of navigating the complex sales cycle and bespoke needs of larger clients. Excelling in account-based marketing strategies is key here. And on that note, check out my video on the 7 most effective ABM strategies for enterprise SaaS businesses. I discuss events and personalized gifting there and many other niche strategies to hunt elephants. Pursuing whales is the 5th strategy. A whale is a 1 million RPA or above, the titans of the SaaS ocean. Whales are those once-in-a-lifetime clients that can transform your business, offering a comprehensive suite of enterprise software solutions including ERP, Oracle, SAP, command high contract values, typical of the whales segment, catering to very large organizations. One of the main points to bear in mind is the higher your RPA, the fewer users you need to reach the $100 million mark. For instance, you would only need 100 whales to reach 100 million, whereas you would need 1 million mice to achieve the same result. But of course, capturing a whale is much more difficult than getting a mouse. Let's use another whale hunting tech firm as an example. Palantir. 50% of their client activity comes from government contracts. The whale here is the government or respective government bodies who are paying Palantir for the product. The amount of admin and procurement involved to buy the contract usually takes between 12 to 24 months. So they're likely to never cancel the contract and therefore very likely to never churn. Are there 100 government bodies which can buy Palantir services? Absolutely. Are there more than 1 million Etsy merchants who could buy Everbee's mice services? There are 7.5 million merchants on Etsy. However, a lot of them start the business and then go out of business, which means a high churn for companies operating in the mice segment. Now, with governments or other elephants or whale customers, the churn is much lower, unless you have some exotic government which keeps defaulting and not paying their bills. That was a joke, or maybe not. Now, the infamous George Orwell quote springs to mind. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Is that true though? So let's look at some empirical studies and what the data shows. And by the way, if you learned something from that video already, and if you are still watching this, please leave a yes in the comments below or hit the like button. Now, among a group of companies the infamous Nathan Latka studied that have breached the 100 million ARR barrier, only 30% maintain a focus on low ACVs. And for simplicity reasons, we can think of RPAs and ACVs, so average contract values, of being not too far apart. This highlights a strategic shift towards targeting larger, more lucrative contracts, a move symbolic of mid-market and enterprise-focused SaaS companies. Therefore, 100 million ARR companies tend to hunt for deer, elephants, and whales rather than smaller animal segments. However, in a different study conducted by Sami Abdullah, the co-founder of Blossom Street Ventures, he found that the world's biggest and best software companies tend to actually have smaller ACVs. Same examined a data set of 61 publicly traded SaaS companies and the estimated average contract values at exit or when they went public. He argues that the average contract value is a vanity metric that should be looked at as part of a group of ratios that include a number of qualified leads, close ratio, sales cycle, and other critical sales metrics. ACVs or RPAs shouldn't be put on a pedestal. Now, looking at our examples and the data, we can conclude that you can actually build a 100 million ARR business hunting mice and also hunting whales. However, there is one other metric which has more conclusive data in terms of success for your SaaS business. In 2015, the term T2D3 was coined by Neeraj Agrawal. Neeraj is a partner at Battery Ventures in Boston, and he explained that in order to reach a unicorn status of 1 billion valuation or 100 million plus ARR, assuming 10x revenue multiple, a company should triple in revenue in the first 2 years and then double in revenue every 3 years after that. According to McKinsey, maintaining a high ARR growth rate, especially as a startup scales after the product market fit, is a key factor leading to continued successful revenue growth beyond unicorn status even. Confirming that observation, Kim Chi-Hill analyzed the data of 72 companies that achieved the 100 million ARR mark, and it shows that 50%, i.e. 36 of the companies, reached 100 million ARR at the pace between year 5 and 10. Most of these companies founded between 2000 and 2010. And this is in line with the T2D3 theory and the McKinsey studies. Those companies have grown with more than 170% year-on-year ARR growth to enter into the 100 million ARR. And they maintain such a high growth rate even after the ARR stage to sustain its success to join the $1 billion ARR clubs. Now, is there an easier way to reach 100 million ARR? And before I cover the sixth approach in how to get to 100 million ARR, please hit that like button. Now, the answer lies in the aggregation method, i.e. acquiring SaaS companies to have the sum of your portfolio companies equal to 100 million ARR. Now, one of those aggregators is Constellation Software with now more than $8 billion in revenue. That group acquires between 50 and 100 software companies every year, focusing on the vertical market software segment in particular. Now, another example is the private equity-owned Visma, which recently brought more investors in at a $21 billion valuation. Visma is headquartered in Norway and has 2.4 billion euros in ARR across its 184 companies. At one of our webinars at NUOPTIMA, we had the head of origination of SaaS Group present as a guest, ceiling below. SaaS Group is a much smaller aggregator than Constellation Software or Visma. However, with 50 million in ARR from 18 companies, they are now well on track to hit that $100 million ARR mark as well. We discussed how to acquire SaaS companies, but also how to prepare for an exit if you're a SaaS founder yourself. So check out the link below. Now, if you Google SaaS aggregator, you will find a list we compiled at NUOPTIMA showing all the SaaS aggregators out there, how much they raised, the companies they acquired, and the strategies they pursued. So to summarize, in the grand safari of SaaS, each animal has a unique go-to-market strategy and growth strategy. And no matter what you hunt, there are examples of 100 million ARR companies in each category. Growth rate is one of the undisputed factors to get to the 100 million ARR. And finally, aggregation can be an option if you have the capital, the deal flow, and the ability to execute. NUOPTIMA is an award-winning marketing agency for B2B SaaS companies. We work with companies backed by YC, Sequoia, Carlyle, Lightspeed Ventures, Northzone, and many other top investors. Book a call with us to understand how you can improve your customer acquisition strategy and how we could help you to scale to $100 million in ARR. I drop an episode once a week with insights from companies we work with, venture-backed, private equity-owned, or bootstrapped SaaS businesses all around the world. If you have a fellow founder, if you have a team member, if you're part of a Slack group, Telegram, or WhatsApp group with other founders that could get value from this video, please share this video with them. I drop an episode like this with strategies and concepts for tech businesses once a week. Please hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll get notified every single time I release an episode. I want to help as many founders as possible to scale their business. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I'm Alexej, and I will see you in the next episode.